doing the final test on some protein-packed recipes, and these should do the trick for the rowers at the regatta. These tofu skewers I'm going to serve with a walnut pesto using Ernie Grimo's walnuts. I find most grocery stores carry tofu now. I'm using the extra firm in this recipe because it skewers well. A little soy sauce, little rice vinegar. Garlic, of course. 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And 3 tablespoons of rice vinegar. 1 clove of garlic. The flavor on these skewers is relatively simple because I'm going to make that walnut pesto to serve with them, which is really going to pack a lot of flavor. You can tell when garlic's fresh because it's a little hard to peel and sticky too. Just give that a little stir. I've soaked my bamboo skewers for a little while so when they hit the heat of the oven, they won't burn or scorch. And to skewer the tofu, just insert it. So easy to pick up and go. There we go. I'll let these sit in the fridge for a little while, turn them once or twice, but it is just for flavor, so I'll just make sure that soy sauce vinegar mixture gets in there. When I think of pesto, I think of that beautiful melding of tender sweet nuts and tons of fresh herbs. They work so beautifully together. I'm using Thai basil and garlic and ginger together, so this is really a fusion recipe, an Asian pesto as it were. I'm using the Grimo black walnuts, and I'm going to toast them lightly to draw out the oils a little bit and sweeten them up even further. You can also use regular walnuts. They work just as well. I've just got the heat on low, and I'm going to let them warm through. So I'll get my herbs going here. Half a cup of parsley. And then Thai basil. This stuff is beautiful. It's so fragrant, and about a cup of that. It is intense. Out of habit, I always salt my herbs before I pulse them. That helps keep the green color. I'll add a clove of garlic, and I can smell those walnuts, so they are just lightly toasted, and I'll let them cool for a second while I grate some ginger in. There we go. And a little orange zest. And depending on the moisture content of the herbs or how rich the nuts are, I may use some of the orange juice just to get the consistency I want to. But I'm going to add my olive oil first. I've got a pretty smooth paste, which would be great served on top of pasta. Since I want to use this pesto as a dip, I'll add some of the orange juice just to loosen it up a bit. It's intense, but not overwhelming. That licorice note in the Thai basil is perfect, and those black walnuts are just so buttery. Well, I'm really happy with the final batch of this recipe so far. The true test is once I cook off the tofu and use the pesto on top and taste the two together. I think it'll be great. In designing this recipe, I was thinking about adding a little crunch or texture to the tofu. So I figured by brushing them with a little egg white and then sprinkling them with some sesame seeds, that would add that crunch. I'm preheating the oven to 400 degrees. I'm just using the egg white. I whisk the egg white a little bit just to loosen it up. I brush the tofu with the egg white so that the sesame seeds stick to it and to add a little shine. I'll leave those skewers in the oven for 5 minutes. Then I'm going to turn them so that the sesame seeds toast on the other side. And in the meantime, I'll tidy up and try tasting the chilled tofu. See if it's as good as I think it is.